Started Tuesday off strong with a top-end earthquake bar bench press, 200 pounds on the bar. Had to pull the fractionals out for this because the earthquake bar itself is 9 pounds, so making even numbers like 200 is very difficult to do. Cleared 10 consecutive repetitions, making this a linear progression right into a new 10 rep max. Maintain the weight across for the following sets, but back the reps off to 8 per set respectively. Then transitioned into some upper back work, being the supinated close grip pull down. That means my hands were facing me relative to the grip placement. 140 pounds on the weight stack, cleared sets of 15 across. Definitely some forearm fatigue setting in by the time the final set came around, especially considering that I did have a warm-up set in there at 95 pounds for 15 reps, and that does contribute to the cumulative stress across all of the working sets. Then we went into some barbell front raises, delt specific, not a usual exercise variation that you'll see in my programming. However, it is worth noting that some of the top bench pressers throughout history have been able to front raise some pretty impressive loads. So I figured I'd start running some numbers on this variation, run it for a block, maybe bring it back in the future and continue to progress forward. And we'll see if it has a progressive carryover, but currently the jury is still out because obviously I'm not moving significant loads on it or anywhere near close to as much. Then we went into some dumbbell tricep rollbacks, one of my favorite tricep variations, and again another exercise that some of the top benchers throughout history are huge proponents of. 40 pounds in each hand, 20 rep sets. Definitely some serious volume there. I wish there was a way for me to more reasonably load these incrementally because they are very difficult to make 5-pound jumps on per dumbbell. Then finished off with the ultimate level of disrespect in the weight room. Not just curls in the squat rack, but curls on the belt squat machine. That's pretty aggressive, but however, I do own the belt squat machine, so it's allowed, just like doing curls in the squat rack if you happen to own the rack, or you can curl 135 pounds for 5 sets of 5. 30 pounds only on the belt squat machine because this is deceptively challenging. Hammer grip setup, the pump was incredible. This cable pulley system for curls is brutal, but it's effective, so we'll likely stay the course. All in all, great upper body session. As you see me struggling to finish off this set, there's some high rep work there. The forearms were fatigued from those pull downs earlier, and of course the arms were shot from all of the rollbacks. All in all, a solid session. First leg day of the new block. Going to be running 7.5 pound progressions on the SSB squat to the 18-inch box. So dropping down the progression rate just slightly. We'll see if we can still move some weight and keep pushing that number up. If I can run 7.5 pound progression through this entire block, I'm gonna milk it. We're gonna see what we can do. If I have to adjust, a second or third workout in, we'll do so, but I'm gonna try and take it for what it's worth. And that 361 pound top end set of 7 repetitions actually felt, dare I say it, kind of easy. I either could have ran this for quite a few more repetitions or I could have increased the load significantly. But slow and steady wins the race. One of the best ways to get really strong is to remain injury-free for as long as possible. So as long as we are moving those numbers forward, workout after workout, we will stay the course. Maintaining a manageable and methodical rate of progress is always much more appealing than getting injured under the bar because you tried to rush. Backed off the SSB for 2 sets of 7 respectively at 325 pounds before moving on to SSB step-ups to the 18-inch box. Really starting to load the weight up on these bad boys, building confidence with this unilateral movement that does have an obvious transition in height, which can make it a little bit unnerving, a little bit unstable. And to be quite honest, 18 inches is pretty high when you're stepping up onto it with 100 pounds or just shy of 100 pounds on your back. I would like to entertain a 24-inch box at some point, as I'm pretty confident I can step up to a 24 while maintaining a neutral spine. Therefore, it would likely be a progressive range of motion to prioritize as well, but we've got a lot of room for improvement on this height here, so we'll stay the course for the foreseeable future. As soon as I was done with the step-ups to the 18-inch box, moved on to 3 sets of 15 stiff leg deadlifts with 197.5 pounds, and I gotta say, that's a lot of weight to hold on to for 15 repetitions. And it definitely gets fatiguing in the forearms by set 2 and 3, respectively. So it's a little bit of indirect grip work because, as you can see, I am not using the straps on these, and that is purposeful. Then I went into some frame holds, single arm frame holds, 60 pounds on the handle total, including the handle itself, which is 45, I can't remember off the top of my head as I record the audio on this one, but regardless, 60 total pounds, holding for 30 seconds, 4 sets, alternating back and forth, getting some direct grip work in because it's not something I traditionally incorporate, and there is definitely benefit to doing as much. Finish off this lower body training session with a little bit of core work, some good old-fashioned leg raises. Pretty basic, but as many of you know, I'm big on the basics, so sometimes we keep it simple, and even though we incorporate fancy variations from time to time, sometimes we just make it a throwback and lay on the ground and raise those legs. Saturday morning, managed to clear a top end set of 7 on the incline bench, 238 pounds on the bar. That felt pretty good, and then backed it off for some volume work, building out that foundation with 214 pounds for sets of 7 across, respectively. Definitely getting that rep work in on the incline bench, and that linear progression doesn't seem to be leaving any time soon because we keep inching those estimated maxes forward week in and week out, which of course is incredibly encouraging. And if an exercise is going to continue to produce a progressive yield, then we're going to keep it around for as long as we possibly can, especially a big compound lift like the incline bench. From the incline bench, we transitioned into some hammer grip wide rows using the long bar attachment, 135 pounds for 5 sets of 15, really working on that mid and upper back development before transitioning into a variation that I don't often employ but is very, very effective at targeting the traps, and that's a landmine single arm upright row, a variation that I very much enjoy, and I'm using a rogue attachment there to ensure that my grip is not getting absolutely beat up by holding onto the sleeve of the barbell itself, although that would be a great variation if you wanted to prioritize some grip work, because holding onto the sleeve of the barbell while trying to lift any reasonable load relative to the movement pattern itself proves deceptively difficult to do. Straight bar tricep press downs to hammer the back of the arms, 60 pounds on the stack, 4 sets of 25 repetitions, 100 clean reps for the back of the arms. You can never have enough triceps. And then finished off this upper body training session with some bicep work, 75 pounds on the bar, 2 sets of 8 repetitions, focusing on that strict curl. And it's a good thing I don't have sleeves on today because they would definitely be stretched, considering that was a very much adequate pump. Rocking the top end set of front squats with 290 pounds. Not a fan of 7 rep sets on squat and deadlift variations. The heavy breathing inevitably starts. I become well aware of how deconditioned I truly am. Although, to be fair, moving this much weight for this many repetitions is a form of conditioning in and of itself. Managed to clear that top end set on the front squat. Almost lost it by the end of the set. And then backed it off to 261 pounds, which didn't really feel any lighter considering the amount of fatigue that was built up during that initial set. So what it really felt like to me was 3 sets across with 290. Actually, to be fair, by the final repetitions, it felt more like 400 or 500 pounds, but we're well aware that it was far from as much. Once I cleared all 3 working sets on the front squat, I worked a set of Sumos. Form is still pretty cringy, just not as cringy, so this definitely needs some work. It's improving, but definitely not at the rate I would like or to the standard that I usually hold myself to, so we're just going to look at these with a little bit of sadness and recognize that your boy is struggling and has some serious priority work to do to improve that sumo pull. So, hit a top end set on the Sumos for 7 reps. Stuff's like cardio. But interestingly enough, today I actually backed it off 9 pounds. I know that doesn't really seem like a big deal,
But psychologically, I knew it would be better for me because my neck, I slept so funny like 4 or 5 days ago. And my neck has been so stiff and tight on the one side. And even doing my warm-up sets, I was like, not feeling this today. Not feeling this, started to talk myself out of it. So then I made a little bit of a trade-off. I said, listen, to myself, I know that's kind of weird. I'm gonna back the weight off a little bit. And if you feel good on rep 1, go for the 7. So that's what I did. Rep 1 felt great. I actually racked them off all the way through 7 without even having to reset. So it's a big victory because it's the most weight I've ever moved for 7 repetitions. So it calculates out equal to what I pulled previously 4 weeks ago, because I had the missed attempt last week. Even though it was a 1 rep max, it did not calculate out to the highest ever. So this matches pound for pound. So I'm excited whenever I hit a rep PR and match pound for my top ever. That's a good set. So I'll take it. Progress is progress, no matter how slow.
And of course, it wouldn't be a traditional heavy lower body session if there wasn't a little bit of reverse hyper work at the back end. 4 sets of 12 repetitions with 145 pounds, and that's a wrap on another successful training week.